Hello everybody and welcome to December's crochet series at Cuyahoga Falls Library. My name is Marianne and I'm so excited to get crocheting with you all. This month our project is a mini tree. So I have two examples here using two different types of yarn. And obviously one has this little garland on it to be like lights and then a star on top. Or you don't have to add any decorations, you can just have a plain tree and it still makes for a great decoration. Alright, the recommended hook that I have for this project is a size G or a 6. This is a 4mm, 4.25mm, or a 4.5mm. G is kind of the weird one that has a bunch of different millimeter sizes. I'm working with a 4.5 today. And we are using worsted weight acrylic yarn. You can obviously do any color that you want your tree to be, but I will be using this green yarn. And we're going to start with our tree. So we're going to slip knot onto our hook. And you can choose to start with either a chain 2 or with a magic ring. Whichever you prefer. I'm going to start with a chain 2. And then for row 1, we are going to start with a base 6. So in that second chain from my hook, which is the first chain we made, but second chain from the hook, we are going to do 6 single crochet stitches. Once you have your 6, for row 2, we are going to single crochet 2 stitches or increase in each of those 6 stitches. So we're adding 6 stitches every row, which means at the end of this one I should have 12 stitches. I have my 12 stitches, so that's the end of my row 2. Now for row 3, we're going to follow the pattern of single crochet 1 stitch in the next stitch, and then increase in the second stitch. So we're still going to add another 6. At the end of this row we'll have 18. So in this first stitch I'm going to do just 1 single crochet, and then the second stitch I'm going to increase, so regular single crochet, and then I'm going back into that same hole to increase. I'm going to repeat that all the way around. End of row 3, we have 18 stitches. You can see our circle is slowly getting bigger. So for row 4, we're following a similar pattern, but we want to space out our increases even more. So we're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches, so 2 regular single crochet, and then in that third stitch we're going to do an increase. Now it's another 2 regular single crochet, and then increase in the 3rd stitch, and follow that pattern all the way around. At the end of row 4, we end up with 24 stitches. And then we're doing 2 more rows of increasing. So similar pattern for row 5. We are going to single crochet 3 stitches, just regular single crochet. In that 4th stitch, we are going to do an increase, and then repeat that all the way around. So single crochet 3, increase, single crochet 1, 2, 3, increase, and one more. We're doing 1, 2, 3, increase. So we just should have added another 6. We should be at 30 stitches. And then we're just going to do 1 more row of increasing. We're going to get to 36 stitches. Again, what we're working on here is the base of our tree. So if you look at this example, we're working at the base of the tree. So if you want to make a smaller or a larger tree, you would just have a larger or a smaller base. So you could do more or less than 36 stitches. For this pattern, we are going to do 36 stitches. So now we're on row 6. We're single crocheting 4 regular single crochet, and then increase in the 5th stitch. Do that 6 times all the way around. Alright, I've got my 36 stitches. We're at the end of row 6. And then for row 7, we're just going to do 1 round of single crochet, so regular single crochet all the way around. The reason I do that is because of where our increases are. They're all kind of stacked on top of each other in our rows. So notice it's not a perfect circle. It kind of makes these edges like that, and so if we do one round of single crochet, it'll make it more of a circle, which is what we want. So you see, after one round of single crochet, our circle is just looking a little more like a circle. Alright, so now for row 8, we're going to do one round of back loop single crochet. And what that's going to do is it's kind of going to push our stitches to move up so that we can start working. We finished the base of our tree, now we want to start moving up for like the body of our tree. And what a back loop single crochet row does is it just adds this nice little ridge, which isn't super noticeable on your finished project, but it is very useful in moving your stitches to go upwards. And to do a back loop single crochet, if you're looking at your stitches, normally for single crochet you would obviously go through both of these loops, both loops of that V. For back loop, you only pick up the loop furthest away from you. So front loop is the one closest to you, back loop is the one furthest away from you. You're kind of going in the middle of that V and do a regular single crochet. You'll notice after doing a couple of these, it's just leaving that front loop of your stitch visible to get that ridge. So you see, even after just that one round of back loop single crochet, our stitches are already pointing up. So we have our base, kind of makes a little bowl effect because it makes our stitches go up, which is very useful for amigurumi when we are shaping our project. Now you can flip either side, so whichever stitch side you prefer to be the outside of your tree, you can choose either. Usually with amigurumi, you choose the side where your stitches kind of form these little X's, but that is totally up to you. So that was row 8, and so now for rows 9 through 12, we are just single crocheting all the way around. So just regular single crochet, we're not doing back loop, we're not increasing or anything like that. You are just going to do regular single crochet for rows 9 through 12. I'm going to pause the video while I do rows 9 through 12, and I will be right back. Alright, welcome back. So after doing rows 9 through 12 of single crochet, just looks like a taller bowl. This is the base of our mini tree. So now we are on row 13. And so for row 13, we're going to start decreasing, and it's going to be a really slow decrease. We don't want to go in too quickly and make, you know, a mini tree. We want it to be a gradual, kind of making like a triangle, so it actually looks like a little tree. So similar to how we were doing with our increases, we are going to start with a single crochet in 4 stitches, and then decrease in the 5th and 6th stitches. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 regular single crochet, and then we are going to single crochet 2 together. So that means I'm going to insert my hook into this stitch, grab the yarn, pull it through the stitch, got 2 loops on my hook, and instead of grabbing the yarn and finishing that stitch, I'm going to pick up the next stitch as well. So we're going to go into this next stitch, grab the yarn, go through the stitch, so we have 3 loops on our hook, grab the yarn again, go through all 3. That is a decrease. And we're going to do that all the way around with 4 single crochet in between each decrease. So I'm doing another 4 single crochet, and then a decrease, 4 single crochet, and decrease, and last 1, 2, 3. Oop, my yarn frayed a little bit, that's okay. We'll just crochet through it. And decrease. And what this does is just going to bring in our tree just a little bit, not too much, but that way we get that kind of gradual effect. So now you're going to do 2 more rows of just single crochet. We're not decreasing again until row 16. So for rows 14 and 15, go ahead and single crochet twice around. Alright, I'm back, and we did 2 more rows of single crochet. So you'll see, you can kind of see that it's like gradually going in just a little bit. And so now we're going to do another row of decreasing. We are on row 16. And for this one, we're going to follow very similar pattern again. We are going to single crochet in 3 stitches, and then decrease in the 4th and 5th stitch. So we're doing 3 regular single crochet, and then single crochet 2 together. And just like when we were increasing, we added 6 every time. This time we are decreasing 6 in each round that we are decreasing. If your stitch count is 1 or 2 off, do not worry too much. As long as you can see that your tree, that the shape of your tree is gradually going in, it is okay. Alright, so that was another round of decreasing. And so now for rows 17 and 18, we are single crocheting around again, just to give some more space between our decreasing rows. That way, again, it's a little more gradual. Alright, so 2 more rows of single crochet. I'm going to pause the video while I do that, and I'll be right back. Alright, back again. This is after rows 17 and 18, where we single crocheted some more. You can really see our tree taking shape. So now we're on row 19, which is another decreasing row. So for this one, we're again following similar pattern, but this time we're single crocheting in 2 stitches. So 2 regular single crochet, and then decrease. 2 regular single crochet, and decrease. 2 regular single crochet, decrease. Alright, you can see our hole is getting pretty small. So now you're going to do 3 rows of regular single crochet. So row 20, 21, and 22. You're just single crocheting around. And after you finish that single crochet, we are going to stuff our tree before we go into our final decreases. I'm going to pause the video again while we do those 3 rows of single crochet. Alright, we are back. I just finished row 22, so we are coming to the point of our tree. Now before our hole gets too small, I am going to stuff my tree. I'm just using regular polyfill today, but you can use plastic bags if you want. You can use, old t-shirt scraps or fabric scraps, really any filling that you want to fill your tree. Now, one thing while stuffing, you don't want to stuff it too much. I always, want to fill it as much as I can, but if you stuff it too much, it'll start pushing on the stitches and you'll kind of get these like holes. It also will push out your base and then it won't stand as well. So you want to make sure that your tree stays flat on the table and you can stuff, but stuff lightly and make sure that your tree is shaped okay. Just a little bit more. Alright, so we are now on row 23, which is we're going to do just 1 regular single crochet and then single crochet 2 together. And then we do that all the way around. So 1 regular single crochet 2 together, 1 regular single crochet 2 together, our decrease, from here we're just going to do 1 more row of single crochet. So we're on row 24 and this is just, we're trying to make sure that our tree ends in a point. Alright, you'll see our hole is pretty small. Next one, we are doing another row of where we single crochet 1 regular stitch and then single crochet 2 together. It is the same. This is row 25. Same thing that we did for row 23. And this is just to bring it to even a more gradual point. And if we decrease too fast, it might look a little funny. So we're still doing a gradual decrease. Usually get it so that I have 8 stitches left. Again, if you're a stitch or 2 off of that count, that is okay. What I really want is I just want like a really small hole here to do 2 more rows of single crochet before we fasten off. At this point, since we've crocheted a little more, I am going to add just a little bit more stuffing into this very small hole. It up. And now for rows 26 and 27, we are going to single crochet around. These rows are so short, I'm not going to pause the video for this because we only have a few stitches in our round, yeah. You'll notice it might feel a little bit awkward to work with, but we are almost there. Alright, so you'll see those few more rows of single crochet just really brought our tree to a point. So now I'm going to fasten off. So I'm going to cut my yarn here, and I usually end with a slip stitch. This is totally optional, but I'm going to go into this next stitch, grab the yarn, and just pull it all the way through, and then keep pulling, pull that knot tight. Fluff up my tree a little. Alright, I'm going to fix the camera focus, because to close this tip, I'm actually going to use this tail that I just did to fasten off. And we are going to do the kind of drawstring effect. So we're going to weave that tail in and out of those stitches in our last row. Doesn't have to be perfect. If you miss a stitch, don't worry about it. But just pulling it in and out. And that way, then when you pull your tail end, it closes that hole for you. And then I'm just going to poke my hook in. I'm going to grab that tail, and we're going to hide it on the inside. So my favorite thing about amigurumi is you get to hide all of your ends on the inside of your project. Alright, and that is our tree. So you're more than welcome to keep your tree plain like this. I still think it makes an adorable decoration just the way it is. But I do also, you can add decoration if you would like. So I have 3 different kinds of decoration. You're welcome to use beads. If you take large beads, you can take a yarn needle or even a hot glue gun and attach them to your tree. You can also add lights, which we're just going to do with a chain stitch, and I'll show you how to attach it to your tree. And then I also have a very small star, which I will show you how to do. So you can do this in any color that you would like. I'm going to do this blue color because I like the color changing yarn. We're using the same hook, and this is again a worsted weight acrylic yarn. I'm going to start with a slip knot on my hook, or you can do a magic ring, that is up to you. We're going to start with a chain 2, and we're going to single crochet 10 in the second chain from our hook or in our ring. It is going to feel very tight. 10 stitches is a lot. It is a little tight, but there are my 10 stitches. And then the star is only 1 row. So what we're doing is we're going to use slip stitch, double crochet, and triple crochet. And that's because we're going to go from slip stitch, which is a really short, tight stitch, and then double and triple, which are very tall stitches, to make the points of our star. We're going to do it 5 times for a 5-pointed star. I'm just fixing the lighting on my camera so we can see a little better. This yarn's a little darker. So in my first stitch, this round, it is going to be a little tight. We're doing a slip stitch. Slip stitch is you go into the stitch, you grab the yarn, you pull through the stitch, and you keep going and pull through that other loop on your hook. And then in the second stitch, we're going to do a double crochet, which is you yarn over, insert into the stitch, yarn over, pull through the stitch. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over again, pull through 2 loops. You have 2 loops left, yarn over again, pull through 2 loops. And now we're going to do a triple crochet, also known as a treble crochet. They are the same thing. For triple, what we do is we're actually going to yarn over twice before going into our stitch, which means you're kind of going to wrap the yarn around once and then you do it again. So you already have 3 loops on your hook. We're going to that same stitch where we did our double crochet, and then you yarn over, you pull through the stitch. You have 4 loops on your hook, and you're going to yarn over and pull through 2, 2, then 2. That's why it's called triple, because you pull through 3 times. So we yarn over, we pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 again, yarn over, pull through the last 2. We're still working into that same stitch. You're going to do another double crochet. And that is the first point of our star. We're finally moving into the next stitch. We're going to do another slip stitch. And then we're going to do that double crochet, triple crochet, double crochet again in the next stitch. So there's a double. Here's my triple, my other double, all in that same stitch, and then another slip stitch. And do it again in the next stitch. Do double, here's a triple, double in that same stitch, and then slip stitch in the next stitch. So you'll see our tall stitches are becoming the points of our star, and the slip stitches are kind of what divide the points of our star. So I just did a slip stitch. So I'm doing, in this next stitch, we're going to do a double, triple, and double, slip stitch in the next stitch. We're on to our last point of our star. Let's do a double, triple, our last double, and then slip stitch. And that is our star. I'm going to fasten off. Just going to cut the yarn through, pull it tight, and we have a little star to go on top of our tree. Now what I did to connect this to the top of my tree, I actually just used the tail ends. You can also use a yarn needle and any yarn, but I'm just going to weave these tails kind of through the tip of my tree. And kind of choose which way you want your star to face as well. I'm going to weave in this other end so that I can just do a little knot on the back of the star, not too tight so that it still stands. And then I can cut those other ends. And there my tree has a star. Alright, now I'm going to do my lights in the same way. Is just going to be a chain stitch. On the pattern I wrote to chain 121. I promise it is just a chain. We are not going to do any single crochet, so it might sound like a lot, but it is also just an estimate. This one was 121 stitches, but as you start chaining, you can also hold it up to your tree and just see how long you want your lights to be, how many times you want it to wrap around your tree. So let me just do a couple chain here so that I get a nice length to demonstrate. So as I'm chaining, I'm just going to kind of place it on my tree, kind of wrap it around, and I'm just going to see how many times I want to wrap around. Maybe I just want it to be short. Maybe I just want it to wrap around once. Maybe I'm going to do that and then I'll add some ornaments in with beads. That is up to you. So I wrapped my chain around a couple times. I think that is going to be long enough. So I'm going to go ahead and fasten off my chain. And how I started mine was I started at the top and I took that tail end of my chain, kind of the same place where I knotted my star. I'm going to grab that tail of my chain, and this is just as a starting point. So I kind of pull the tail end of my chain through my tree. I can secure it later. And then I'm going to turn, let's get that end out of the way. I'm going to turn my tree, wrapping the garland around it until it is where I want it. Might have to play around with it a little bit depending on the length of your chain. But I'm happy with it just about there. And I'm going to do the same thing at the bottom of my tree. I'm going to use one of those loops from my back loop row, and that's just going to hold the tail there. So it can stay like this. It's pretty secure, especially if it's just going to be sitting on a desk. But if you want to add some security, I'm going to take a yarn needle. This yarn's fraying too much. If I can get it through my yarn needle. I'm going to use the same color yarn I used for my lights, going to do it with a single strand. So I'm going to pull this through. So I have two ends up here, but then it's single. And you don't have to do any set number of stitches or anything, but I'm going to do a couple stitches that attaches my chain to my tree. So I'm going to plug my needle in at the bottom of my tree, come up through here, pull the yarn through and just do a couple stitches, and it'll blend in because I'm using yarn the same color as my lights. You don't have to do a knot or anything, it's just going to be a few simple stitches. So my yarn comes out here, I'm going to go back in around here, come back out here. I'm doing about every inch or so. You can do more or less, but it's just going to kind of secure that chain to your tree. This part is again totally optional. You do not have to decorate your tree. I just thought it'd be fun. You're also welcome to be as creative as you want in coming up with how to decorate your tree. I'm really excited to see what everyone comes up with. One thing when you're sewing is don't pull it too tight. You'll notice here I pulled a little too tight and it causes your shape to be, or your tree to be a little misshapen. So make sure to keep your stitches very loose and relaxed. Pretty much at the end of my chain, so I'm just going to go in one more time, and then I'm going to hide my end inside my tree. Fluff up the tree. You can now cut or weave in any ends that you have left. And we are done. Thank you so much for watching this video tutorial. I hope it was helpful. Have a great day.